So for Nipmuc people, this must have been particularly a difficult time to live, because here you have a bunch of people in the dominant culture, the white culture, let's say, saying, you've all vanished. You're no longer Nipmuc people. And you have Nipmuc people saying, well, I consider myself a Nipmuc person. I have a family heritage, I have a set of beliefs, and I have a community that I live with that, for me, is distinctly Nipmuc. At the same time, you have the white culture saying, no, you're shoemakers now, and more importantly, you're a person of color. You're no longer a Nipmuc person. And that shows through in these county histories and also in the census records at the time. You find a person described in the 1860 census as an Indian. In the 1870 census, they're described as a person of color or a colored person. Same person, but the census taker, as part of the white dominant society, decides that this person is no longer Nipmuc.
There was kind of an ethnic cleansing with a pen going on. And it was, if you did not have white skin, you were considered black. And a lot of times, I mean, even today, you go into the town halls and you see where people have actually written over the records, where it was put in that they were Indian, and someone went in and wrote black over it. And you can actually see in censuses from time to time where they may have been Indian in the first 3 censuses, and then the last 6 of their life, they're considered black. But you also notice something else on those censuses, that they were together here, and they're still together here. It hasn't mattered what people have decided to do, you know, how they wanted to do what they wanted to do. We've stuck together.
Beneath the myth of disappearance that is in all of these published books from the early 1800s on, beneath that is the fact of the Indian presence. And the very same books that will say the Indians disappeared will then proceed to tell you all about the Indians that they know that are part of their communities. And what is abundantly clear through the secondary sources and through the overseers' records, the Indian overseers' records, is that the Indians never disappeared. They're always here. The Nipmuc presence and persistence is real, in fact, the reality.
The history books tell us that when the English settlers came here, they brought with them epidemics, and there was a vicious, nasty war, and more epidemics, and wiped clean the landscape of the native peoples here. That's what the history books say. Matter of fact, in 1822, the Secretary of War received a report on Indian affairs that stated that the Indian communities in New England were just a few feeble remnants teetering on the brink of extinction. That's what the history books tell us. Well, my friends, I'm going to suggest to you that the history books are wrong. They don't tell us the story of the native peoples here, and it's a much larger story and one we need to know about. And I want you to focus on one concept. He who writes the history controls the history.